back Anime Death Spiral, the only anime podcast where all characters appearing in this work are fictitious. Any resemblance to real persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental. I am Nate, once again. I'm here with Remy, and I have a confession to make to you.
You're not real? You're fictional?
I wish it was that easy.
Oh, I thought that was what you were implying. Okay.
No, I have to wake up every day to the horrible reality that is existence. I wish that my life ended when the book cover closed, but unfortunately, it just keeps going. Have you ever noticed that?
That's really unfortunate for you. I really pity you. My life obviously ends the second you turn this podcast off. I live inside your headphones. I am just a voice spending time with you, talking to you, making you happy. That's the entirety of my existence. It's pretty pleasant.
Mm-hmm. And that's my existence is talking to a disembodied voice about anime.
It could be more pleasant, but as far as existences go, I don't have to worry about anything but talking about anime.
If I stop talking to the voice, I have to confront that I'm just talking to myself, and I'm not ready for that.
Yeah, and then you'd have to stop watching anime after you self-actualize.
Well,
and reconnect with reality.
One important thing to note is they do not let you watch anime when you're inside the mental health facility.
They take away your phone, your manga.
Well, arguing over waifus and power levels just gets the patients too riled up.
Yeah, isn't that what Danny DeVito did in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? Wasn't that his thing?
Yeah, he caused a distraction by saying, actually, Misato was best girl.
Yeah.
And everyone flipped the fuck out.
Danny DeVito in the corner doing waifu rankings.
S tier.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson trying to pretend to be insane. Yeah, that's Sailor Moon, huh?
Oh, yeah. That,
pretty sweet gal.
That there's Sailor Moon, when she fought that Charmander thing. That sure was a hoot, wasn't it, buddy?
I really teed you off for that.
That's my Jack impression. I hope you liked it.
Oh, is that what that was? I was wondering. I was like, wow, that sounds so familiar. I can't place it. I think he might be doing a voice.
Thank you.
Now, obviously, I read anime because in the imaginary construct that is myself, I am always watching anime.
See, I'm glad that you did because I just couldn't stomach any anime this week. It just couldn't fit in there.
That's okay. That's how you were created.
Yeah.
I understand. Your flaws are inherent to your being.
Ever since I had the surgery, I haven't been able to consume as much anime in one sitting. I have to portion it out.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Okay,
I tried to watch some anime and
you failed.
I failed.
You absolutely failed so hard.
I failed miserably. Just critical failure. It was as if I was putting the DVD into the DVD player and I did a hilarious pratfall, snapping the DVD in half while also tumbling the TV and DVD player onto myself, causing grievous but comical injuries. Instead, I tried to watch The Crow.
Okay.
I tried. I really tried. I tried so hard.
I don't know. It's cringy and weird, so it's kind of anime adjacent, I guess.
It's gothy, obviously.
Yeah.
It's gothy in a goofy way. I said before we started recording, I really think it's 2 clicks away from being The Mask. If you just twisted the right screws in The Crow, it would just be The Mask.
So The Crow introduces this, theme or concept or whatever you want to call it of all of the gang members, right? That kill Eric and his girlfriend.
Cheap imitations of guys you saw in The Warriors, by the way.
Well, yeah. So they all have a weird kind of, they're not exactly themed like the gangs in The Warriors. They just kind of have they're almost like the Joker's gang, right? They're just kind of a group of violent weirdos.
Yeah, a group of violent weirdos covers it. But then he also introduces an entirely new gang, new group of weirdos in the second half of the movie. We get a whole nother set of them, but none of them get introductions or any kind of character embellishments because they die a minute after being introduced, which kind of sucks.
Well, what I was trying to say is that all the...
I want to know some of those... There was like a goth Latino guy like just mixed in with all these dudes who were like wearing suits and stuff. And I was like, I want to know what his deal was. Why did he show up that day wearing those clothes? Why does he look like that?
Oh, man, you know who the gang in The Crow reminds me of? Did you ever see Creepshow 2? I know you did, right?
I must have, but which stories are in Creepshow 2?
Creepshow 2 is the one that has the lake with the blob creature.
Oh, the Slick.
Yeah, the Slick. And it has, a dramatization of that old campfire tale about the person who hits a homeless person with their car and keeps on going, and the body follows them home. And then the first story in the movie is like a gang of violent weirdos assaulting an old man and his wife who run, what do you call it, like a sundries shop, in kind of like an old westy kind of run downtown on a reservation. The gist of it is that they have, and I don't think it aged that well, but the gist is that they have one of those old statues of a Native American person smoking a cigar, right?
Okay.
It comes to life to defend them from the goons. But the goons in that short remind me quite a bit of the goons from The Crow.
Yeah.
Same general vibe of a nihilistic youth gang stereotype from the 90s, where it's like they just
we
assume...
believe in nothing, Eric Straven. Yeah. Nothing.
With nihilists, the Crow. Mr. The Crow.
Mrs. The Crow. So-called Mrs. The Crow, if that's even your real name.
But yeah, like the fear that cities were just filled with multi-ethnic gangs of like teenagers that were just out killing and causing destruction.
Doesn't slip my notice that one of the guys in the initial gang is a black dude, one of the only black dudes with speaking roles in The Crow. Mm-hmm. And when Eric Draven becomes a superhero, he does paint his face completely white.
Okay, you call him a superhero. What is the Crow's superpowers?
He doesn't die. He regenerates. He has regenerative powers, like Wolverine.
Okay, so he's Wolverine.
He can also turn into a crow.
More of an anti-hero, not really a hero, but okay.
No, I mean he's pretty heroic. I mean, come on.
I don't know. Did you see that Deadpool and Wolverine? Did you see that? I thought he wasn't that heroic,
Well, the whole point of the movie was to become heroic. He was very heroic at the end.
I didn't see it.
Did you see Deadpool?
I didn't see it, and I don't plan to. Deadpool's stupid.
You fool. Just talking out your ass. Can I talk about manga?
Yes, please do.
Can I save your ass and talk about some manga?
Yes.
Fuck The Crow. I can't wait to see that remake. I'm actually very excited.
Skarsgård, so hot right now.
Skarsgård. I watched the Skarsgård in Boy Kills World.
How was that, by the way? That was supposed to be the new Running Man.
Yeah, it turns out it wasn't really. The idea is very half-baked. The thing is, if you took out, and believe me, this breaks my heart to say, but if you took out H. John Benjamin, who plays sort of the running narration of the movie, I think it would be really good. I think it would actually be like a good, fun action movie. But he personally is very funny. Please don't get me wrong here. I love H. John. Big fan from way back. Home videos, right?
Sure. Coach McGurk.
But man, he is not funny in this movie. And all the shit they wrote for him, it just sucks. And it's so much of the movie.
I've wondered for a long time when pop culture was going to reach like critical saturation for John Benjamin voice. Like when the fact that it was just his voice saying stuff stopped being like the gimmick that everyone liked. Because I kind of feel like that is what Archer turned into. Because I don't think the jokes were that funny. I think after a certain point, it's just John Benjamin's delivery on stuff that really like makes most of that show.
He's very talented.
Yes. And he knows how to work a script. I'll give him that.
He just has a great voice. It's just great. The voice is great. It's the words. The words are the thing. as Shakespeare said. And the words in that movie fucking suck. They suck so bad. But little Billy...
I thought the whole point was that that Skarsgård, he can't hear and he doesn't talk, right?
Yes, but he talks in his head.
Oh.
And that's where H. John comes in. He just rambles.
Oh, wait. His inner monologue is H. John Benjamin?
Yes.
Are we supposed to then extrapolate that his speaking voice would be H. John?
No, the joke is that he doesn't remember how his own voice sounds like. So he's just borrowing the voice that he remembers from an arcade machine.
Oh.
Which is, in world, technically H. John's voice is the announcer in Street Fighter. That's the conceit. He's the guy who's perfect. That guy.
Perfect.
And that's just supposed to be the voice he's borrowing.
K.O.
But Billy, little Billy, I think is really good. He does a really good job. And the action scenes in that movie fucking rule. They're like really good. They did a really good job doing a bunch of like real action choreography.
All right.
It's just the script sucked.
I mean, did
really
they have
pissed.
a weird cast of themed villains that he had to fight through?
Yes.
That's cool. I like it when stuff does that. It's kind of my whole thing.
And if they were just written a little bit better or the like conceit was stronger, I think it would have been a fantastic movie. But again, you gotta have a good script. You can't make a good movie without a good script. If the script's bad, your movie's bad. I'm sorry.
Well, that is a disappointment. Next time, Billy, next time.
If anyone ever tells you different,
Wait, okay, no.
they're an anti-Writers Guild shill.
Okay, well, that is the only person conceivably out there saying, like, no, you don't need a script. Fuck that. And just shoot whatever.
These people are out here saying that they can use random word generators to create movie scripts.
I mean, I think...
Come on.
Well,
Look at
if,
these
if you want to
people.
get real for a second, I think that there is a sizable...
Wait, you didn't let me answer.
Do you want to get real for a second?
No, I want to talk about this manga. Can I talk about this manga, please?
Okay, all right. Dialing back the realness. Talk about this anime that you read, huh?
I want to talk about manga now.
Okay.
It's my show too.
I don't want to hear you fucking say that.
Too bad. I read some manga, like some manga-ass manga recently, and I've been
Okay.
meaning to get to it for a while now because I've been stretching it out. I'm certain listening back to the episodes, it doesn't sound like it, but we actually did weirdly have like a bunch of stuff to talk about many weeks in a row. So I just never got around to it. But I want to talk about some now.
Well, by all means, get it out of your system.
Nate, have you ever read the works of Satoshi Kon?
Read the works of Satoshi Kon? No, Remy, I don't think I have.
Why not? Do you not respect the man? Do you not respect his craft?
No,
Is that why?
I think he's one of the few creators in the craft that actually deserves respect. Yeah, he died trying to make real art in a medium that just did not want him to.
Okay, all right. You don't have to go that far.
Oh, sorry, I was supposed to dial back the realness. Sorry. Okay, all right, go. I'm keeping it light. Levity.
Nate, have you ever read the works of Katsuhiro Otomo, perhaps? I'm sure you're familiar with the name.
Now that one, of course I am. That is the author of Akira.
Oh, interesting.
Creator of Steam Boy.
Yeah.
My favorite steampunk entry in the genre.
Probably my favorite, too. Maybe
Yeah.
the only one in my top 10.
In fact, I think I'm okay with saying that it may be the only good thing associated with steampunk at all.
Let's keep going. I think it's the only good thing associated with anime at all.
I think that may be too far, especially when Akira...
Too far? Okay, hold on. Let me try again. I think it's the only good movie.
That I will agree to. Yes, Steam Boy is the only good film that's ever been made.
Yeah.
Yes.
Somebody was like, what if we made Laputa again, but it was about a kid with a big gun?
Did he have a gun? I thought he just had a jetpack.
Do you remember No Country for Old Men?
He has one of those.
He has a cattle poker.
The cattle puncher.
It's mostly a lighthearted, like, fantasy adventure movie. But then every once in a while, he fucking cattle punches a guy, and it's brutal. That movie is brutal.
You remember that time that he went up to the general of the rival army and he said, "Heads or tails, friendo."
Do you believe in luck? He obviously created Akira and all that other shit, Steam Boy. others. But before that, oh, you're going to try to think of one? Go ahead, by all means.
Oh, no, I was just going to say he was also the, obviously he created Bart Kira as well.
In the transitive property, I suppose you're correct. There would be no Bart Kira if there was no Akira.
It's a true statement, and I stand by it.
I think anything that comes downstream from you comes from you.
You are the well that the stream flows from.
I think of myself that way, yes. Now, did you know about Otomo that he did other things? Were you aware of this, Nate?
I was somewhat aware. He's... I don't know all of the books that he's authored outside of Akira, which was kind of his, magnum opus. It spanned, 11 years and 6 giant-ass volumes.
He did work on it for a long time.
I know that the only movies that he's credited with directing and creating are Akira and Steam Boy. And he's done some shorts, right? He did a segment in...
Well, he did too. I mean, he obviously worked on Memories.
Yeah, Memories.
And he also did Neo Tokyo.
Yes, Neo Tokyo. He does a lot of animation direction for specific segments of other works. That seemed to be a majority of his body of work.
He did essentially Neo Tokyo, Robot Carnival, Memories, and then Akira, and then he kind of did stuff for a while, and then he did Steam Boy. But did you know he did live action movies as well?
That I did not know. Okay.
He started out in live action.
Okay, doing what?
Just shooting films. He was trying to be a director. He was trying to be a live action director.
I feel like transitioning from live action film to directing animation, I wouldn't call it a promotion. That feels like a lateral move at best. And it feels and that's not me putting down animation. That's me that's you making your job infinitely harder for probably quite less money than you were making before.
Would you prefer to smoke inside or outside? That's the main choice you're making. Here's the connection. Here's why I brought him up with Satoshi Kon. Because I read... Domu. Which I don't remember what that means. Does it mean house? Does it mean home?
Why do you think it means that? Because it sounds like domicile?
Yeah, kind of.
I've never heard of Domu. You got to fill me in a bit more. What is this?
Domu. This is something he wrote before he had started making animation, as far as I understand. It did take him a long time, so this might have transitioned into the time he was doing Akira. I can't remember. But Domu is about essentially a psychic child.
Oh, real original Katsuhiro.
It's the battle between a psychic child and a psychic grandpa that plays out across this one massive housing project.
Okay.
And the thing that connects him and Satoshi Kon, whose work I've also read, I read his short story collection Dream Fossil, which is fantastic. And another work of his, a longer work of his that I forget the name of. It's the one about the mermaid, for anybody who's read Satoshi Kon. And I had the same thought reading through them. For Satoshi Kon, even more so. But they both write manga as storyboards. And it feels very distinct. When you read Satoshi Kon, this mermaid story, you can perfectly plot it out to an hour and a half feature film. It lays perfectly within a 3-act structure. All of the work itself is paced in that exact way, in a filmic way. It's all quote unquote shot like a film as you read through the story. It's really incredible. And the same, I feel very similar. The only person I've really got the same feel from it is Otomo's work in Domu, where you can almost see him brainstorming how he wants to shoot Akira. On the page, you can see him playing with shot compositions, scene transitions. He does match cutting and stuff like that in this comic, Mm-hmm. And I find it so unique to both of them, who had just an insanely strong primal understanding of how filmic language worked, even when they were primarily working in a comic medium. I find it very interesting. It's very cool. I don't have to go in and say like Domu is good because it's one of the it's the second most revered work from the guy who made Akira. I don't think I need to drone on about the quality of Domu.
Well,
it's
I mean,
fucking great.
Third most revered behind Steam Boy.
Behind Steam Boy, of course. Slip of the tongue.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Domu's good. It fucking rules. It rocks and it rules. It looks great. Every single fucking page is incredible. Like I said, it has a complete understanding of interesting shot composition. So it's drawn in a way that a lot of manga is really sloppy about. And that sounds like a hating on modern manga sensibilities or whatever, but it's not.
I get where you're coming from, and obviously it's because Otomo had that background in shooting real movies and understood how a camera, as the stand-in for a viewer's eye, right, is processing a scene and how you're supposed to compose it to make it look good. And I think that what you touched on is an issue that a lot of people have talked about with the current just like feeling of the manga industry, is that a lot of these creators, they don't have that experience. They're learning how to draw and compose manga specifically based off of only reading other manga, which is okay.
It's fine.
It's fine, but I think that having a varied an ability to look at something like that in different ways, like a cinematographer, is absolutely something more people should be doing. Right.
This will probably never happen because we're moving in the opposite direction with the removal of bonus featurettes and like commentaries and stuff off of like DVD releases for movies or whatever. But if we could get, and this actually, I wish I could remember one right now, but this was in a couple movies back in the day. You had like a special feature on some DVDs that was the animatics and the
I remember
storyboarding for scenes in the movie, and you could watch an entire scene from the movie that was just being processed from the storyboards or the animatics.
You see, you said that, and instantly it flashed in my head on the DVD for 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
They have the animatics and storyboards for 2 or 3 alternate endings for the movie.
Wow.
And you can watch them all play out like that. And they're all voice acted by the actors. It's really cool.
Oh, that is really cool. But I feel like if that was more available and people could watch things in a way that they were storyboarded, there would be a much easier way to connect those two things in people's minds, Mm-hmm. Seeing is learning. Or you could just get the masterclass and read through Domu or Akira, right? Akira even better because you can compare the shots in motion to they are in the comic, which is kind of amazing. But there's an incredibly filmic feeling to both of their manga, which is just really strange to come across.
Mm-hmm.
It's something like when I read Miyazaki's manga,
Nausicaa.
Yeah, Nausicaa, or
especially when you look at the film adaptation of Nausicaa and see how different it is from the comic book.
Yes. Well, necessarily so.
By the way, quick aside, that's my thing now. I'm no longer going to call it manga. I'm just going to call them all comic books.
Yeah, they're comics.
Yeah, they're all
I feel
comics.
like we established this pretty early on.
Yeah.
They're comics. I've been calling them comics forever. Yeah. There's Western comics, and then there's non-Western comics.
So people can stop sending letters to my home address. I'm not going to stop doing it.
We should call them comics and W comics, like we call them RPGs and JRPGs.
Wait, what's the W for?
Western.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say white.
white comics.
Anyway.
You ever read a B comic? It stands for Brazil. It says, what did you think I meant?
All right. Let's get a little less...
It's Brazilian comics. They have a big comic scene in Brazil, okay?
Well, I wasn't thinking anything. I wasn't.
Did you read any manga? Did you read anything at least?
No. Unfortunately, I just couldn't bear looking at the page or the screen this week. Outside of well, we'll get to what I did do. But you had some other stuff you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I guess I could connect this. I did read a couple other things that are sort of thematically relevant. In my desperate quest for legitimacy and authenticity and the voice of authority that I crave, I constantly go back and try to read classics or lesser known works from the past, just so, I can really pad out my smugness about the topic. That's important. That's important when you're choosing works to read. I did a couple of different things that really buffed my smugness. It was kind of, due to various life events, my smugness was really starting to run dry.
Well, you gotta refill the well. You gotta refill those tanks.
You got to refill the tank. I lost 7 Magic ranked games in a row, and my tank drained pretty fast.
Sir, his ego levels are tanking.
Yeah.
He could experience full solipsism any minute now.
I went ahead and I read AX-alternative manga.
Oh,
You ever heard of AX, Nate?
this sounds like one of those like how to draw manga movies books that you'd get in like the early 2000s. Like AX, how to draw alternative manga. And then the cover would be something with like wonky eyes that are looking in 2 different directions.
Oh, I'm familiar. I'm sure I had at least one of those.
Oh, wait, no, this person doesn't know how to draw manga. This person doesn't know how to draw anything.
Yeah, why did they put how to draw manga on the cover of this book?
But it also taught me an important lesson, is that you don't actually have to back up anything that you claim to be in life. And you can still just get by and make money from it, right?
Well, there was infinite amounts of money to be made by bilking dumb anime nerds in the 90s and early 2000s. Like, no one was going to stop
Hey, it didn't
you.
go away. They're still there, and they're still the most one of the most vulnerable groups to mental manipulation.
No, you could not be more incorrect.
No,
Even if you tried. And I see you constantly trying, but
I try really hard.
you're not going to outdo yourself in this case, because AX is in fact the most deep, most realist, most old head, most OG fucking shit in manga, dog.
Oh,
this shit
okay.
is like, I could power years of smugness off of just mining AX-alternative manga. Because AX is a publication called AX Alternative Manga.
It was a magazine?
It was the successor, like a comic book, a big anthology comic book. I think it was monthly.
Like a Jump collection.
Yes, though as far as I understand it, there wasn't really serialization. Sometimes things were serialized out of it, but as far as I understand, it was not like running stories. This was more of an art showcase.
Okay.
So I guess, I don't know. Is there a Shonen Jump that's just one shots? I don't know.
I think probably there is multi-jump.
Multi-jump.
Yeah, that's what I'm calling it until someone proves me otherwise.
Okay. That sounds like the more interesting. I wish I could get my hands on some of those. But Garo was this like legendary alt comic scene. If this was in America, it would be where like our Crumb would get published.
Okay.
Sort of like a cross between like heavy metal and the comics section of Playboy in the 70s and 80s.
I mean, I don't know what it was called back then, but that scene kind of coalesced into what we would call like, the zines these days, right? The zine publications.
Yeah, it has sort of zine energy for sure. And
Yeah.
Garo was really legendary for being like, challenging or bizarre or upsetting or whatever, you know?
So like weirdos like us.
Yes. People who want to see something different. And obviously these publications are not quite as popular as Shonen Jump and have a pretty hard time like staying alive. Yeah, so from my understanding is like it ran from the end of the 60s up to the 80s, and was like a very left-wing magazine.
Okay.
It
like
was
that.
kind of like that. It had like fucking spiky 70s, 80s punk energy. And then by the end of the 80s, mid 80s, I think the guy who was running it was too old or he died, and it kind of got turned into like a place where they sold PlayStation ads, you know, that kind of thing.
Oh.
And so a bunch of people left Garo and made AX as like the Phoenix, right?
Rising from the ashes.
Yes. And so now they're AX, and they've been running since like the late 90s, I think. Continuity there being that they publish transgressive manga, outsider manga, manga that could not or would not be published anywhere else by people who aren't always traditional manga artists. And the AX alternative manga collection from, I want to say, the mid 2000s. God, has it been that long? Oh God,
it's been 20 years since the mid 2000s.
Am I collapsing into dust as we speak? Yes, it must have been like late 2000s. Jesus Christ. Is just a really bizarre, eclectic compilation of manga up till the late 2000s, like all kinds of aesthetics, all kinds of sense of humor, all kinds of politics, all kinds of styles. Some of these are just poems that have been illustrated. Some of these are like short gag comics. Some of these are just single page, almost like Gary Larson-esque, but more meditative. There's all kinds of shit. Really nasty shit too, you know? Really dreamlike shit. Stuff that does not look like you could print it in a Shonen Jump, like straight up, like stylistically, it would not sit next to modern manga, which are the ones I'm most excited about. It's really cool to see like way out there illustrative styles in manga, because you don't see it very often.
I wish that there were more publications like that these days for, you know, modern fans to coalesce around, right? Obviously, there used to be those back in the days, and then it kind of shifted to early online forums and blogs. But now it's like, fucking, what do people have? Reddit threads and Crunchyroll comment sections. That's the main like area of discourse where people talk about anime. I wish that there was more weird little stuff that people could subscribe to that would introduce them to stuff, you know, titles that you wouldn't find in a Jump, like you were saying. I like
outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, I wish that anime fans as a whole were more adapted to stepping outside of their comfort zone. But I think history continues to prove that they are not.
It's funny. I mentioned the Playboy thing earlier, but like, generally, you know, at that time, like the arc would be like, I cannot get this published anywhere else. I need to go to like the smut books, who will just publish stuff because they need content and they're already smut. So like, who cares, you know? But it seems to be these days, I'm not an expert. I've never been to Japan. I don't collect magazines or whatever. It seems like they just put smut in the regular comic publications. Am I wrong about that?
I think it still depends.
When I see these splash pages for like manga I read sometimes, you know, like on Berserk at Young Animal, right? They like publish these comics next to like fucking like pinup model shit.
Well, again, I think that goes back to what you were just saying. Berserk had to get published in something like Young Animal because he couldn't get it published in the bigger magazines like Jump or Weekly Jump, right? I've seen interviews where Miura has talked about like, Young Animal is the only people that would like pick up Berserk and work with me on it. No one else wanted it.
Well, yeah, because chapter 1, page 1 is him fucking a demon lady and then killing her.
Well, again,
Miura, R.I.P. I love you. But even you know that the start of the comic was a mistake.
I mean, and to his credit, he talked about it. He was very, he was like in a very weird place mentally about the whole thing. He's like, all right, well, I got to do something weird and fucked up with chapter 1 because that's the only thing that sells. That's the only thing that's going to grab people's attention. And he admittedly didn't put much thought into it beyond like big guy with sword kills demon tits.
Well, he's not wrong. I mean, it worked.
It absolutely worked.
At the end of the day.
And yeah,
at the end of the day, it totally worked.
If I was him and it worked, I think that would piss me off more than it failing.
So AX, this is a great collection. This is collected by a guy named Paul Gravette. He literally has worked in like comics criticism for apparently 20, 30 years, something like that. He's written books on American comics, British comics, Japanese comics, all kinds of stuff. And he introduces this collection in a really smart way. I really liked it. He positions these comics like culturally, and the context is massively helpful because these comics are, a lot of them, very deeply politically angry.
I mean, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. There is a lot of seething rage.
Mm-hmm.
And these comics are kick ass, dude.
You should, I want you to link me to that. That sounds cool. I want to check that out.
I'll link you to it. I'm actually really interested in seeing if I can find more collections like this. I'd love to find collections of Garo.
Well, unfortunately, for more,
I need the smugness. I need to refill the smugness, and that would be even better.
Unfortunately, we may have to wait for Ken Burns' anime and manga to come out. I am looking forward to that one. That's going to be fire.
It's going to be dope as hell. Mm-hmm. You know what? If I could just get my hands on a copy of Garo, I feel like I could create an extremely profitable streetwear line that was just screen printing panels from it onto t-shirts.
Listen, can we replace like the hentai panel sweatshirt with something a little more cooler? Can we workshop this? Maybe do something with these Garo panels?
Yeah, like aggressively weird and off-putting. In the opposite way that the Ahego sweatshirts
are. I feel like the hentai sweatshirt is already aggressively weird and off-putting.
Yeah, it's aggressively weird and off-putting, but like in the way I don't like.
Yeah. Can we do that in a cool way? Let's noodle on that.
Like, for example, like imagine if you saw something in this theme, a t-shirt or a sweatshirt or something kind of in this style.
Oh, hell yeah, that's dope.
Oh, shit.
I mean, no border. You have to make the whole garment kind of to match that powder blue background color.
Oh, this is purely aesthetic fuel right here. It's like we could go anywhere from here.
No, I'm already loving this. This is doing things for me.
It's so fucking sick, dude. It's so fucking sick.
All right. Before we move on, you have anything else you wanted to bring up?
Well, I mean, there's a million different things, but I guess if we're talking in the same theme, I did get around to reading a little bit of Demon Academy. Are you familiar with Demon Academy, Nate?
No, I'm not familiar with Demon Academy. I'm familiar with Demon School for Demons, Young Demonic Academy 5, but not just Demon Academy.
Iruma-kun.
Iruma-kun goes to Demon School.
Yeah, I think that one actually is Demon Academy.
No, what is Demon Academy?
Demon Academy is a manga. Let me throw out another name that I think would be familiar to you if you're on your game. You ready for this?
Okay.
I didn't throw any names from AX because these people are not these kinds of names. Let me give you a name, Nate. Hideyuki Kikuchi.
Oh.
Does this ring any bells?
It is on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, it's right there. What if I said a couple of titles that he's been attached to, like Wicked City or Dark Side Blues, or maybe even Vampire Hunter D, perhaps?
All right.
Yeah?
You got me. You got my interest. I am a big fan of Vampire Hunter D. We've talked about that before. And I don't think we've ever talked about Dark Side Blues, but that's another weird little one, a weird little OVA movie that I think everyone should go out and take a look at. It's just kind of a weird little, like, dystopian kind of magical realism story. It's interesting. But yes, now I am familiar with Kikuchi Hideyuki.
Well, you were familiar before because he rules. And everybody should be familiar with that name because just for those 3 titles alone, you know he rules. But guess what? He did more shit. Did you know that? He did a bunch of shit.
Oh, shit. What kind of shit did he do?
Well, he did stuff like The Sword of Shibito, which is kind of a classic. It's more of a samurai kind of thing. He did the Treasure Hunter series, which is like, what if the Hardy Boys was manga and like went super hard?
Okay.
He did, a bunch of that kind of Demon City stuff, Dark Side Blues, Demon City Shinjuku, Wicked City, Demon Palace, Babylon.
These are all pretty classic OVA titles that a lot of people who were into anime in like the early 90s and late 80s would recognize.
Yeah. And of course, he worked very closely with Yoshiaki Kawajiri, who is, of course, the co-founder of Madhouse, director of Wicked City, Ninja Scroll, Bloodlust,
what?
that kind of thing. So these guys are tight. They're doing a bunch of shit together. Hideyuki Kikuchi goes and creates the manga called Demon Academy. And this is a pretty playful one for him. I think you could be accused of, if you wrote Vampire Hunter D, you could be accused of maybe being a little bit too up your ass. But this one is like very clearly like just goofy shit. It almost feels like a parody of some of the earlier JoJo stuff, like even kind of Phantom Blood era.
I'm already seeing the crossover influence,
Yeah.
Honestly, the first thing that came to mind when I saw this is like this character, that's
Oh yeah, baby.
what's his name? That's Garo from
One Punch?
One Punch Man.
Yes, it totally is.
Yeah.
And also he's got, in the comic that's represented. That's when he gets his Super Saiyan hair.
That is dope.
Demon Academy is very funny and weird. I really like it. I think it's like it's such an incredible look into like that era of like machismo shonen works, early Berserk, Fist of the North Star, JoJo Phantom Blood, Demon Academy, Demon City. These ones, they all had that like stern 8-foot tall, ultra jacked, quiet, tall, dark bad boy.
Yeah, the delinquent look.
Yeah. It was just like made out of fucking concrete. Not the kind of shonen protagonist we're getting at the moment, right?
No, I think that it's something that people have made fun of for a while now. And I mean this in a totally respectful manner, but the twinkification of the anime character.
Yeah, that's what you're going with? The light willowy build.
Yeah,
we don't have strength build characters anymore. They're all dex builds.
They're all dex and they're all faith builds. Faith in their friends.
No. Cruel irony is in right now. That's part of the isekai wave. We've talked about this.
Oh, well,
you don't believe in your friends.
No.
They've abandoned you and betrayed you.
And in fact, they were bad people the whole time.
Yeah, and you have to punish them with your newfound powers.
The powers are only secondary to the fact that you were always super smart and plotting against them the whole time.
Yeah. So, Demon Academy... Demon Academy is about an academy of, I guess, demons? Despite the name, it's not made clear whether they're all demons or not. But they are a big delinquent gang. Like, every single person in the school...
are some of them definitely demons?
There's at least one confirmed demon, but he's the transfer student.
He's not even from the academy.
No, he's not. A mysterious young child who is definitely like a 25-year-old bodybuilder shows up to class, and he's like the transfer student. And he has some kind of strange powers. The blind kid in class who... of course, is in tune with like psychic energy, right? Because he's blind.
Every blind person will tell you that.
Yeah, they'll say like, I see in energy waves, sort of like the end of the Matrix.
It's kind of a Daredevil situation.
Or the Daredevil. I prefer Matrix. He sees the main character as some kind of weird energy blob. And then there is a dual story in chapter 1 where a sort of Dracula-esque set of boxes is being like shipped overseas to Japan, and nobody's supposed to look into them, and eventually they get delivered to the front of a school, and a bunch of delinquents try to steal it for some reason, and instead get owned by a series of disembodied limbs that come out of the box and start killing them.
What?
And then the transfer student just walks into the body and then is like, I was the soul. This is my body, and now we're together again. Let's go back to class. That's chapter 1.
That's chapter 1.
Oh, yeah, and I didn't even mention the prologue about the kidnapped girl from school being, like, sacrificed to some kind of elder god.
I mean, this is sounding very much like what JoJo, like the vibe of what all those kind of seinen mangas were going for, right? They're all trying to do a spin, their own unique spin on the Fist of the North Star format. You know, big burly fighting guys.
Yeah.
And then over time that gets shifted down to like, all right, school delinquents are popular. We got to make them gang members, right?
Jotaro style.
Yeah, Jotaro style. And then I don't know. Big burly guys aren't in, so we have to make them look like Prince, which is always the perfect logical next step. If you're a bodybuilder and you're looking to change your style, lose some mass, always go for a Prince look. It works out every time.
Well, you go from, this is what you're talking about. You go from Jotaro
to
Josuke, and then Josuke to Giovanni.
You mean Giorno?
Giovanni Giorgio. But people just call me Giorgio.
Giorgio. I like that track.
That's the transition I love that track.
Yeah.
That's the transition you're talking about, is that exact evolution.
Yes.
It's the Pokemon.
Yes.
Jotaro, Josuke, and Giorno.
Yeah, that is the evolution, the towards the lathe kind of slender, sexy boy protagonist that we've seen.
Which is interesting because, like I said, obviously this is the guy who did Vampire Hunter D, and as we know, D is the perfect synthesis of willowy twink and rock hard Fist of the North Star-esque delinquent body.
Well, I mean, he's a vampire. He's half vampire, so of course he's a hard body. He's
half vampire, half delinquent. Those are he's dual classing.
No, that's not even the lore. The lore of Vampire Hunter D is that he's half vampire, half super vampire.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
That's real.
Well, a quarter.
That's
super,
real. Look it up.
A quarter super vampire. It's a quarter.
He's
super
a quarter
vampire.
super vampire.
He's a quarter. Actually, reading through the books, which I did, and they're lovely. I love them. I really can't wait for that last one to get translated. Did you know that there's another Witcher book coming out too?
A new one, or like something that they're just translating now?
No, like a new one.
Interesting. I wonder if that guy is writing them again, trying to capitalize on the wavering popularity of the game series.
Well, as I understand it, he does not care for the games or the TV show. So this might just be his, like, I want people to remember the books and not that bullshit.
I mean, he failed. People are going to remember the games most.
It's too late.
I think that's without dispute. The games won.
The people always remember the moment where the Polish prime minister gave Obama a copy of Witcher 2 as proof that Poland was a real place that mattered.
Look what we made.
We did this. But interesting that that's happening, and then also I think they're finally getting around to adapting that last Vampire Hunter D book, which, they're so great. But in the books, it is revealed that he is a quarter super vampire, legendary vampire, a quarter synthetic vampire. Did you know that? Mm-hmm. They created fake vampires?
Yeah, no, I did
He's
know
a quarter synthetic vampire, and then a quarter regular vampire and a quarter human.
So
he's got the whole shit going on.
You're leaving out the part that he's also a quarter blade. So he's 5 quarters.
He's 5 quarters. He's more than the sum of his parts.
Yeah.
Even more than that.
And he's got a talking hand too.
God, he's so fucking cool. He's a vampire, but also a cowboy.
Yeah. No, that's why he has the big hat and he has a cyber horse.
Yes, that's why I like that magic set. The outlaw cowboy vampires. Oh, I just realized. I just put that together.
Now because of Vampire Hunter D.
Oh my God. It's because of Vampire Hunter D. That's how powerful it worked on my psyche. Is like I watched Vampire Hunter D as a small child. Literally found a VHS tape buried at the bottom of a bin I wasn't even supposed to be in. took that shit like straight to the VCR, slam dunked that shit.
Threw it in from across the room like a boomerang.
Hell yes, dude. And even as I would say at the level of The Simpsons, it did burn into my brain on like a chemical level. And that's why I'm here now talking about anime.
See, I had that same experience, but with My Neighbor Totoro, and I think that explains why we turned out the way we each did.
Yeah. That just on a Ghibli level, my Ghibli movie was Princess Mononoke, of course.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
you're Totoro.
I'm Totoro. That was a foundational movie for me. I unfortunately didn't get to see Mononoke until I was in high school, which is like, basically child abuse that happened to me.
Yeah, I mean, you could have been taken away by Child Protective Services for that if somebody had leaked it. Just like I could have been taken away by CPS if somebody had told them, my parents let me watch Vampire Hunter D as like, I don't know, a 7-year-old, 8-year-old.
Oh yeah, no, those
crazy.
are his vampired bitch wives that are trying to suck out her blood by tearing her shirt off. Yeah,
look, they were Harpy Hydra sirens, not real women. They were bad. They were temptresses. They deserved to die. Oh fuck!
Easy stuff to process for a 7-year-old.
Okay, let's take a break. I need to.
Yeah, let's take a break.
I need to think about this for a second.
Okay, here we are, back from the break. Now, Remy, as I mentioned earlier, I just couldn't bring myself to read a page of anime or watch a screen of manga this week. It wasn't in me. But do you know what I did do with my precious time that is fleeting here on this earth?
Probably not meditate on why reading manga was too hard for you when you do a podcast every week about reading manga.
I don't want to hear from you, okay?
Probably not that. I don't know. Did you watch another King Kong movie?
No, unfortunately. I should have.
I thought you loved King Kong. I thought you were in love with him.
Well, first of all, I'm a Godzilla guy. You know, King Kong is secondary to the whole thing. He's the sidekick. I'll say it. His name comes second in the title.
What?
It's Godzilla versus Kong. Godzilla X Kong. Godzilla's name is first build.
Weren't you the guy who was defending Kong Skull Island? Weren't you the only person I know who said they liked that movie?
I didn't say that I liked that movie. I liked the new one that came out.
You didn't like that one.
Well,
you didn't like the John C. Reilly one.
They didn't go far enough. They didn't make it weird enough like they did with Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire.
It's funny you say that. I'm so glad you said that because my main concern with Jordan Vogt Roberts, the director of Kong Skull Island, and many other things you've heard of, he has a tendency to pull back from the weird. So when he inevitably makes his Metal Gear Solid movie starring Oscar Isaacs, like, I don't think he's the kind of guy who can do a Psycho Mantis. You know what I mean?
Okay, all right. Okay, last I heard, if we're getting into it, that project is on deep ice. I don't think it's going anywhere. And I think that Oscar Isaac's time is well booked up for the future. So I would be well surprised, right? I would be.
You think so?
I would be really, really surprised if that comes to fruition.
Do you want to give a guess on what other anime project he is currently in development hell on?
Oh gosh, is he one of
Jordan Vogt Roberts?
Is he one of the 9 people attached that was supposed to direct the Acura movie?
Jordan is attached to both Metal Gear and Gundam, the live-action Gundam
Interesting.
movie.
Okay, he's kind of going for a big robot angle.
He was and he had Brian K. Vaughan write the script for this fucking Gundam movie.
What else has Vaughn done?
Lost is where I know him. He wrote on Under the Dome, the Stephen King project. It all comes back to King. He wrote Why the Last Man. Apparently he wrote Marvel's Midnight Suns, because everybody has to work for Marvel now.
I mean, it's how you work your way up in the industry.
It's the only way. So do you want to? Okay, now do you want to throw a guess out at who Hideo Kojima wanted for Solid Snake, besides Oscar Isaacs? He didn't like the Oscar Isaacs pick.
Okay, for modern actors.
Modern-ish, I'll say.
Gosh, I don't know. If Kojima's casting choices are fucking incomprehensible. I still don't get Kiefer Sutherland as Venom Snake in 5.
Oh, I hate it.
It was awful.
I hate it.
It was really bad.
Don't like it.
I don't even want to get into... I don't have a lot to say about...
It was Idris Elba in that Cyberpunk DLC bad. It was that level of bad.
Just flat, uninspired, unenthusiastic. I can't figure out why they didn't want to go with David Hayter.
Kiefer doesn't do anything.
Keanu doesn't do anything.
Kiefer doesn't do anything.
Kiefer doesn't do anything.
What are you waiting for? Kiefer doesn't do anything.
You know, I feel the fan base, the Metal Gear Solid fan base is... They were, had this whole thing about how they thought Kojima was mistreating David Hayter, who was the
writer of X-Men.
Voice of Solid Snake.
Oh.
Not X-Men, X-Men 2. Get it right. He wrote X-Men 2. And then had most of his jokes rewritten by Joss Whedon. So imagine that being your career.
Oh, that's so brutal. At least he got out of working with Bryan Singer, I guess.
I mean, that's the most anybody can hope for in Hollywood, is that they don't have to work with Bryan Singer ever again.
Oh, please, God.
Who does he want?
Throw out one guess. Just pick a leading man from the last 20 years.
I don't know. Who played Gambit in that Deadpool movie? What's his name? Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum?
Yeah.
That's okay. This lists 3 that he wanted. In the order that's mentioned here, Hugh Jackman, Viggo Mortensen, and Luca Marinelli.
I'm not familiar with Luca Marinelli, but... That just confuses me more. How old does he think those actors are? And how old does he think the character of Solid Snake is supposed to be?
How old is he supposed to be?
Hey, would the movie be about old Snake?
I don't know. But they did just put Hugh Jackman through the entire fucking thing to do another Wolverine appearance. So I don't know.
That means he's locked up for a while now, because there's going to be a Deadpool and Wolverine 2 and 3. Like, they weren't joking when they made that comment about him doing it till he's 90.
Oh, man.
I don't know.
I guess we'll see.
I don't know. Steady paycheck.
I could see.
Steady paycheck from Disney.
I understand where he's coming from. I think with Hugh Jackman and Viggo Mortensen, I see it. Very angular faces. They've got a good resting anguish face.
Uh-huh.
They've got nice stubble. Both of them look really good with nice stubble. You know what I mean?
I could see them both rocking the headband look. I'm not gonna lie.
Absolutely.
The bandana.
They have the right hair for it.
Yeah, they have the right hair for it. But I'm just so confused on why they would go for an older actor, which I can only assume translates to an older version of Snake the character, when Snake Eater is right there, because that movie was, like we were just talking about before we came back in from the break, that movie is basically Hideo Kojima's first attempt at trying to prove that he can, like, quote unquote, do a movie, right?
Yeah.
I think that if they're going to adapt one, it would have to be Snake Eater for several reasons. One, because, and I was trying to get to this anyway, that new Snake Eater remake is coming out.
Weird.
Yeah, weird, right?
You're not thinking of the Silent Hill one, right?
No. Although it is weird how all your favorite games from 2004 are coming back, right?
All your favorites are here.
Yeah. I don't know. Snake Eater is already a James Bond movie. That would be the easiest to adapt to film because it has the most coherent plot in terms of character and pacing. It only goes downhill whichever direction you go with any of the other titles.
Yeah, we've all seen the faux World War II, faux Vietnam action movie. We have the structure of that in our brains.
We know what that looks like. It's there.
Snake Eater translates very clearly. Mm-hmm. the analog for like 1 or 2 are like Tom Clancy techno thrillers, which have been, let's say, slightly less successful in the market.
When was the last time they made a Splinter Cell game? Haven't been people talking about them bringing that back for ages now?
Yeah, probably. But I think the way I see it more is like these constant reboots of like, Jack Ryan and Jack Reacher. They have been burning through fucking Jack Ryans and Jack Reachers over the last decade or so. Mm-hmm. They even did the spin-off one with Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, you're saying that now that they've kind of worked through all of these characters, and none of them were viable to stick around in the pop culture's eye, now Solid Snake is bottom of the barrel choice for film adaptation.
He's more flashy than a Jack Ryan or Jack Reacher, but since Snake is downstream from both of those characters, just like in a genre sense.
He is an amalgam. He's not even a real character unto himself. He is an amalgamation of different film tropes and direct traits lifted directly from characters in other films. I don't think that what is Snake? Who is David to you? Like, we've both played all of the games a few times. Like, for better or worse, we are Metal Gear Solid fans. I don't think that you can escape that title. I'm not trying to dodge it.
Let's take a back step, because you're right. I have played every Metal Gear Solid game, but what is Metal Gear Solid? I don't even really know. It's a game about sneaking.
I don't think that Hideo Kojima knows what Metal Gear Solid is as a franchise.
You don't think so?
I don't think so, because I did just play all of the games recently. This new Snake Eater remake is coming out. So I decided to sit down, and it was one of my favorite series when I was in high school. I was, spotty with some of the later titles because I did not have the hardware to play them. Famously, Metal Gear Solid 4 is still locked to the PS3. It's the only console it's available on.
As it should be.
You think it should be sequestered there like the ghosts in the Ghost Vault in Ghostbusters?
I don't think you should be allowed to play MGS4 unless you sit through that long-ass installation screen where he just smokes for 3 hours.
See, interesting.
I think that should be required.
I remember that, but also they played like weird little funny commercials and like skits would come on during that. Do you remember that?
No. For me, he smoked.
Oh.
He just smoked. He stood there and smoked.
I don't know. Maybe they patched this in at a later date, but I distinctly remember doing that installation screen. I totally remember it. But occasionally, to break up the time after a while, it would play like weird little like fake ads for in-universe products. And at one point it brought up a video, like a live action video of the real David Hayter, voice actor for Snake, like doing an interview in universe, like promoting. Do you remember in that one, Snake had like that high-tech eye patch that let him scan stuff? Like, that was his whole...
How could I forget the high-tech eye patch?
And so it was David Hayter, the real actor / screenwriter of X-Men 2, doing a fake infomercial, like trying to sell this futuristic eye patch technology as a product. You didn't see that at all?
No. I saw a guy standing there and smoking.
Oh, wow.
For many hours. Like, many.
If you put in the wrong username for your account, your PlayStation account, the Kojima servers do recognize certain words and tag you for having less privileges.
For punishments?
Yeah. No, it's a gameplay
like not
feature.
Getting
it's
to
not
watch
a punishment.
funny.
It's a gameplay feature. It's immersive. People like that stuff. That's why people like Metal Gear Solid. Don't you know anything?
I did like it. I liked watching him silently smoke for long periods of time. I thought it was cool.
It was the best part of 4.
Yeah, it probably was. And it made him look like a cool guy that I could relate to.
But I don't know. What I was getting at was that new Snake Eater remake is coming out. Obviously, Konami is kind of panicking. They want to get back into the AAA market, and they don't really know what to do. So they're putting out Silent Hill 2 remake, right? They're putting out Snake Eater remake. What else does Konami have that they could throw out as like a AAA remake title?
PSO.
Suikoden, was that them?
Suikoden? Yeah. Jeez, I don't know.
They'll drag something else out, but
Castlevania maybe.
Yeah, Castlevania. Next, we're gonna get a big Castlevania AAA remake. Just you wait.
Which Castlevania would they remake?
Symphony of the Night. You know, it's there's no question about it. That's the one.
Okay, but then that asks the question: is it just HD re-release, or did they like do something wacky, like a full like 3D?
No, I'm talking
rebuild?
about like a full AAA 3D rebuild, per the caliber of Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth. That's what I expect to see from a Symphony of the Night remake. Or at least that's what I would want to expect, because that's what I wanted them to do with this Snake Eater remake, right?
Is go wild.
Okay.
Just go absolutely apeshit on this remake and just do whatever.
There's a couple reasons why that would be the coolest thing to do. Personally, I am a fan of Metal Gear Solid as a series because it is like weird and campy, and it does this perfect mix for my taste of taking itself way too seriously and treating other very serious topics with such comical levity in the sci-fi elements that it tries to introduce, that it's like, how could I not love God's Perfect Disaster of a series? That's why I like it. I mean, dude, one of the best games in the entire series is Snake Eater, the original release. I think everyone kind of agrees that if not the first Metal Gear Solid, that's the best one. And
I don't. What?
You don't? Okay, well,
I don't agree with that.
I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think Snake Eater is the best game in the series.
Okay, all right, and I guess we're going with your default opinion on this episode.
It's my podcast. It's my segment, so we're going with my opinions.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll pretend I believe that.
And Snake Eater is by many considered to be the best one.
Yeah, I believe that.
So that one, what I was trying to get at is the best one has a dude who can control bees and shoots bees out of his mouth and can create guns and grenades out of bees.
And when they bark, bees shoot out of their mouth.
Yes, exactly. It's a weird, stupid, silly series, and to not take that ethos into a remake and go even weirder with it, really shake things up. I think that's unambitious. I think it's overly conservative, and I think it's mostly indicative of the vibe that Konami's been giving off this whole time, is that they want to make money off of games, but they don't want to be like in the business of making games. They just want to make money off of them.
They make games. It's just that,
excuse me. The legal definition of gambling is called it is gaming. It is a gaming industry.
Yeah. You need to wake up to the fact that is game. It's mobile gaming and console gaming.
Mm-hmm.
It's both. I think what the big piece that's missing is like they want to make money off of their games. And why would they fuck around when they could just put something out?
I think that it would.
They're not looking to innovate in, I don't know, let's say the Yu-Gi-Oh space. Yu-Gi-Oh's doing fine. You don't need to fuck with Yu-Gi-Oh. Just put out more Yu-Gi-Oh. Everybody's going to be okay with it.
Yeah, everyone's fine with that.
I think that's how they feel about Metal Gear.
Just put out more Metal Gear.
Even though Yu-Gi-Oh definitely makes more money than Metal Gear.
I mean, so what does that mean? Are we going to get like full 1-to-1 remakes of 1 and 2? Is that what we should be expecting after this?
God, I hope so.
I don't know. It's like they announced that they're using all of the same audio files from the original release of Snake Eater. So they're not that is wild.
Yeah,
they're not re-recording anything, at least in terms of dialogue. Maybe the interstitial sounds and doing some remastering of some of the music. I think is to be expected, but yeah, they've said that not only are they, not re-recording dialogue, they're just using they're using the same audio files. And
Weird.
that is kind of indicative of the overall tone that people should be expecting from this, is that it is just Snake Eater again. And to quote some of the reviews coming out from the tech demo that just released, like they didn't even shift up enemy positions. Like it's exactly in the same spot as the original release, just with better graphics.
And why does this ignite your furious hatred?
Yes, yeah, that is very characteristic of my demeanor.
Yeah, what is it about this?
Well, like I said before, it's a series that's known for being weird and campy and taking risks in its storytelling and doing weird stuff. And I think that making a copy of something that itself was trying to be subversive in ways it falls emotionally flat for me. Does that make sense?
I mean, I understand that, yes. I do think, at the time, if we were brain-rotting, over-entertained dumb assholes like we are now when it came out, we would be like, how fucking safe of them to Kojima he's just going to make another Metal Gear Solid game, and it's pretty much like the other ones, except, you get to wear costumes now. And now they're making that game again. With updated character models, I guess seems to be the only thing that they changed.
It's updated character models,
environmental textures,
environmental stuff, and then I guess the big one is now you no longer have to go into a menu to do like the medical, like first aid stuff or switch costumes, switch your camo. You can all do that.
Wicked.
You can do that from radial menus now. Is basically the big.
That's so cool.
It is cool. It is a genuinely
so fucking
improved
cool.
addition to the gameplay.
That's worth $70.
Now you lost me. Which again, maybe why I'm so absolutely incensed about this issue. Right.
Well, how much money did you spend on Metal Gear Online? Just as a comparison.
Metal Gear Online? I never spend money on Metal Gear Online.
What?
Screw that.
Huh?
What do you mean, huh?
What are you talking? You never spent anything? You never bought the character packs?
No.
What?
Never spent any of my time or money on any of the online stuff. For me, personally, Metal Gear as a series is narrative first, right? I didn't really get what they were trying to turn it into in 5 with like the recurring online like base management stuff. I don't know. Did you engage with any of that like economy gameplay, like mini game stuff?
Of course I did. That was the core
you
of
were
the
a big
game.
spender. You were the one buying mother base coins.
Well, I'm shocked. We're sitting here listening to you espouse scholarly on Metal Gear, but here I am finding out that you're actually like just a fake gamer girl who's never even fucking bought an expansion pack for Metal Gear Online.
Nope.
How exactly are you supposed to speak from authority now that I know this?
I've lost all of my credentials. I'm ashamed. You've shamed me. Okay, all right. Well, since you seem to be the real Metal Gear authority in this conversation, why don't you tell me some of your thoughts about the series, huh? Why don't I shift things over to you?
Okay. Now, what really pisses me off is that the second expansion is the one I really wanted because that gives you the Meryl character, but it's a twofer. You have to spend extra because it comes with Johnny. Now, obviously, I don't want Johnny. Nobody wants Johnny.
Well, Johnny has the fart attacks. He can knock out people silently.
I cannot deal with that. I don't even want that to be in the game. I need him to be removed. So obviously I'm a little pissed about that. The next pack being Mailing and Liquid Ocelot, excuse me, is not particularly exciting to me.
Old man Ocelot.
I don't really care about Old Man Ocelot or Mailing. No offense to Mailing, but like, come on, who even is that? Fourth pack, now that's Raiden and Vamp. That is a fucking good pack.
I don't know. Vamp?
Yeah, Vamp's cool as hell.
Can I just say that For all of the dunking on Kojima that we do in our personal lives, which is quite a bit, the man is fundamentally ridiculous and shouldn't be taken seriously. He's an absolutely buffoon of a creator, and I think it's hilarious how his career has panned out. And I say that with love for all of his works. I am actually a big fan of Death Stranding. I'll say it.
Yeah, I'll see it when you buy all the DLC packs.
Yeah. I guess I'm just not as big a fan as you with all these packs.
You really missed out. I also played Metal Gear Survive. So, who's the real fan?
Now that was the tower defense.
That was the
one,
base
right?
building tower defense.
Which
spin-off.
is, of course, the obvious logical next step for a quote-unquote tactical espionage action series.
Well, there was so much base building in 5, and it fills in gaps in the story. So, you know, if you're a big fan, you gotta play Survive. Don't you want to know what happened to all those Mother Base soldiers after you got... I don't know, what happened? Did he blew up in a helicopter or something?
No, that happens at the end of the prologue. He just kind of, like, leaves at the end. Remember?
No, that happens during the prologue when all those guys die.
Yeah.
And they get isekai'd to the dead dimension.
Oh, is that the story of Survive?
Yeah, the story of Survive is when they blew up Mother Base and killed all those guys. They all got isekai'd to the dead dimension and have to collect dead crystals to reopen the necro portal back to Mother Base.
That's so stupid.
It's canonical, by the way. Metal Gear is dumb. It's a dumb thing. It's a dumb series, and it's a dumb thing.
It is a dumb series, but like, what? That's why I like it, though. I think it's okay to like things for being dumb, right? Like, they have a boss who shoots bees. They have a boss who can, I don't know, he's a psychic and he can read your memory card, which is fun. Like, those are weird, fun little things that they do.
No, that's sick. Yeah. Most people don't do stuff like that. Even though you could, they don't.
The main boss of Metal Gear Solid 1 is just you, but without a shirt on.
Yeah.
Which is
sick.
Dumb, but stupid and cool.
It's kind of sick, though. It's very 80s action movie. The thing that I find so compelling about his whole aesthetic, and I think that's where most people come from, is that he does take the Tom Clancy deadly fucking serious techno thriller framework through which he looks at the world and just seamlessly combines it with the most goofy bullshit that he's ever seen in like any 80s action movie or like ridiculous sci-fi spin-off property. Gunhead, I'm looking at you. And he doesn't differentiate those things at all. Every single thing is weighted equally in his mind. It is equally important that he makes sure to lecture the player on like the actual events of nuclear proliferation during the Cold War, as he does to explaining to you, I don't know, why all these sexy orphans got turned into animal-themed cyborg attack androids.
See,
those two things are equally important to him.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because that is similar to a thought that I was having throughout the series, in that the different philosophies that he introduces via his characters, both hero and villain, in each title, are given equal weight narratively, to the point where I don't know what moral stance any of the characters are supposed to be taking throughout the story. And I think that is just reflective of his overall philosophy that you're saying right here, is that he doesn't know what to give the correct amount of attention or weight to in his writing or directing.
Yeah, just as long as it's cool in some way, it's good to go.
Do we still know why
I think it's fun that
Big
way.
Boss is a villain in the original Metal Gear, but he's the hero and sympathetic in 5? Did we ever bridge the gap?
Yeah, it's because the secret bad guy of Metal Gear is, of course, Snake, who's being used by the duplicitous American government.
Well, okay.
To bring down a real hero like Big Boss.
The duplicitous American government that's being controlled by the secret government, remember.
Yes. The Templars. Yes,
Which
I
brings
understand.
up the fact they give absolute, for all the stuff that we talk about, they totally gloss over the fact that in universe, Snake's clone was the president for a while. Does anyone remember that? Do you remember that?
They never made that public. Nobody actually knew that.
Nobody knew that, but we the players know. How are we supposed to take that writing decision seriously? By the way, the mechanical tendril wielding, like battle armored cyborg clone that's the boss of Metal Gear Solid 2 was the president in the last game for a while.
Was he wearing a mask, perhaps?
No, he was just a dude. He looks like Snake. He looks exactly like him because he's a clone.
Well, I think canonically Snake doesn't like watch TV or read the news or keep up with public events. So he probably never knew.
They say several times throughout Metal Gear Solid 2 that Solidus looks exactly like Big Boss. They use that phrase.
Sure.
And as far as we're supposed to figure, Solid Snake is also supposed to look very similar, if not exactly like Big Boss, right?
Yes, let me tell you about these things called genes.
Oh no.
You ever heard of these?
I don't even want to get into the themes of genetic determinism in this series. It's kind of a weird philosophy that is both integral to the entire plot, start to finish, of Snake's Tale, as well as being like deeply uncomfortable to me. Again, it's not given the proper weight that a theme like that should be in these narratives, right?
George Lucas said stormtroopers all look the same because they're clone troopers. And Hideo was like, got it. Yes, absolutely. Yes, correct. I'm writing that down now. Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad there's more of it, maybe.
I don't know.
I'm not even sure.
I'm not even sure if I'm glad there's more of it. I'm going to play it. I'm definitely going to play it.
Yeah, I'm going to play it.
I wish, like I said before, I wish they had gone a little weirder. I wish they had done something like the Final Fantasy VII remake, and just kind of said, fuck Hideo Kojima, we fired that asshole. We're doing our own thing now. And we have a new guy, and he has a vision, and he wants to do something with this, and they don't have that. And also, I don't think that they're paying any of the voice actors again for using the voice lines. So that's kind of fucked up.
Well, they are going, the voice actors union is going on strike right now. So maybe that has something to do with it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think those may have been connected.
Okay, I can see this conspiracy is taken off.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we do have hope. I just want to bring it back. Like, Metal Gear is not dead just because they're like putting out this game that seems to be a sterile clone, ironically. Jordan, I think, will come through for us. I mean, listen to him speak about the movie. The beauty of Metal Gear is the reason I gave our producers and the studio a ton of credit is because I went in and said, let's embrace the fact that this is weird. Let's embrace the fact that there are supernatural elements to this game and that there are horror elements to this game. Let's embrace the fact that there are weird Japanese quirkiness and idiosyncrasies and oddities that are all framed around this very self-serious world. And let's lean into those things and let's have it be unique and unlike anything else because it represents those things. And let's have the rest of the world fall in love with it because of that, as opposed to trying to make it something else. And I think that's something the producers of Metal Gear Solid Delta : Snake Eater could have taken to heart.
Absolutely. He should be directing this game.
I completely agree. Well, talk to you next time. That's
okay. All right. Have we run this dry? I think
I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done. Okay, beautiful, handsome listener. Thank you for listening.
You made the right choice.
Go give us 5 stars. You made the right choice. You made the right choice by giving us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. We see you out there. We know who's doing it. We know specifically who's doing it, and we see you.
We see you. Okay, we see you.
We see you.
Got it.
Okay. So keep doing it. Thanks again. We'll be back with more anime next time, hopefully.
Our TikTok got shadow banned, so please manually spread it around.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Bye.
I always thought I could step on a mouse. Mouse isn't that big. It's not a threat to me.
Now, Frog and Toad, those guys were fucking cool.